I know it's not Halloween, but I don't know who the Horrorcons are, and I'm curious. I saw this just based on my timeline, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. Why? Because I like his informative videos about Transformers. Listen, I like knowledge about big robots. What's wrong with that? Anyway. Anyway, besides my growing headache due to my workplace, and since my growing headache is causing problems, I'm going to head into this so that you guys don't have to wait a moment more.
Halloween is here again, and this year I thought the time was finally right for the basics
on a pair of
Decepticons
dragon?
whose name says it all. Apeface and Snapdragon, the Horrorcons.
Wait. Apeface? That's a very unfortunate name. Is he still called that? That's a very unfortunate name. Which makes you a game they wait. Companies always want you to make the game there, or instead of letting developers do their job. Pretty much. It's like it's my... Basically, it's my IP to sit there and do nothing with. It's, you know, it's not something you usually want to deal with. They don't want to actually work on stuff. They just want to keep the IP so no one else has it. It's very stupid. Anyway. Snapdragon.
The Horrorcons were originally released in 1987. The toys were triple changers, each able to transform into a jet mode and a beast mode. Apeface became a robotic gorilla, while Snapdragon became a dinosaur. They were also both Headmasters.
Oh, they're triple changers! They're the ones that I remember, what was his name? Blitzwing, that can turn into a tank and a jet, just because I remember one single scene from Animated where Bumblebee tricked him while he was in jet form to turn into a tank mid-air like an idiot and fall through some ice. Anyway, besides that, and my growing headache that's causing me constant pain today, this looks cool. Yeah, it does. I like Snapdragon.
Transformers.
I do like his transformation.
Heads disconnected and transformed into partner minifigures that could ride in their jet mode cockpits. The Horrorcons' unique gimmick was that their partners were triple changers too.
Wait, what?
Transforming into the heads of both their robot and their beast
that's
modes.
Cool.
Apeface and Snapdragon were both characterized as disgusting slobs. Apeface delighted in being as obnoxious.
I pressed the wrong button. I am so sorry. I am an idiot at times. I pressed one. I was like looking over and accidentally click.
Slobs. Apeface delighted in being as obnoxious as possible, insulting everyone around him and deliberately neglecting his personal hygiene.
Ew.
Snapdragon was lazy, unmotivated, and loved wallowing in pools of grease.
Why?
But he had a
robot.
hair-trigger temper and would violently lash out at anyone who disturbed him. The pair's headmaster partners were aliens from the planet Nebulos.
Yeah, I've heard Nebulos.
Apeface was bonded to Spasma, the nervous, insecure son of disgraced Nebulan aristocracy, whose partnership with the Decepticon only made his anxiety worse. And Snapdragon to Krunk, a vulgar career criminal who made his living kidnapping and extorting
only one Krunk
before
I
he
think
became
of.
the bodyguard of the evil Nebulan leader, Lord Zarak. The story of how the Horrorcons became Headmasters was told in both Marvel's Headmasters comic book miniseries and the three-part finale of the Transformers cartoon, The Rebirth, which each put their own spin on the idea. In the comic, Apeface and Snapdragon were among the Decepticons under the command of Scorponok, who were summoned to Nebulos by Lord Zarak to help get rid of a group of Autobots who had settled there. To fight these Decepticons, the Autobots bonded with a group of heroic Nebulans to become Headmasters. And to match their enemy's new power, the Decepticons bonded with Zarak's followers to become Headmasters as well.
Alright.
The Horrorcons went on to appear on and off in minor roles in the regular Marvel comic book and in exclusive stories written for the United Kingdom's version of the title for the next few years, before eventually meeting their ends in the comic's final issues.
To the head.
Apeface was destroyed when Cybertron was attacked by the monster planet Unicron, and Snapdragon was taken out by the Autobot Blaster.
Can I just say, in these old comics, they really do give them, like, human faces a lot. Like, quite a bit. Like, give him the real smart... You can't see Blaster back here, but yeah. Maybe one day we'll do some readings of those comics. What do you guys think? I know Met would be up for it.
In the cartoon, the story was broadly similar, with the Decepticons pursuing a group of Autobots to Nebulos. During their first battle there, Snapdragon mauled the Autobots' human ally Daniel Witwicky, leaving him on the brink of death. And the Autobots and Nebulans' ensuing efforts to devise a mobile life support system to save Daniel's life helped to inspire the creation of Headmaster technology.
Really?
Apeface vocally objected to the idea of becoming a Headmaster, but was quickly put in line by his commander Cyclonus and submitted to the process. Apeface and Snapdragon's story unfolded very differently in Japan, where the rebirth wasn't aired, and instead, an original animated series was produced, Transformers: The Headmasters, which reinvented the Headmaster concept for the Japanese market. In this series, Spasma and Krunk didn't exist. The small Headmaster figures were Apeface and Snapdragon themselves, who connected to and controlled larger, lifeless robot bodies called Transtectors. Introduced halfway through the series, the pair were part of a crew of tiny Transformers that left Cybertron millions of years ago to escape the war. These refugees settled on the planet Master, where they developed Headmaster technology, making themselves bigger and stronger to survive the planet's harsh climate.
It just makes you think they were
Horrorcons were among those who sided with Scorponok when he staged a coup on Master. But when it ended in failure, they were all exiled into space. Most of Scorponok's followers went on to join Galvatron's Decepticons, but Apeface and Snapdragon roamed the galaxy together for a while, causing trouble, until they were finally recruited to join their old allies in Galvatron's ranks. The Horrorcons made a handful of other appearances in comics and storybooks across the US, the UK, and Japan in the late 80s. But they were never major characters,
there's only 2 of them.
This didn't change as the franchise moved into the 21st century.
I'm honestly not surprised. They're like one-off new type of Decepticons. Usually, from what I know, those don't get big stories unless you're well-known. Or unless you're a fan, unless, like, one of the writers is a big fan of you and has a toy of you. That is something I've learned from comics. If a writer gets to write a character get to write for something that they like, and they had a toy of it, it's more than likely they're going to write that character specifically. That was a word salad that I just produced, so if you can decipher what I just said there, that would, be good. But anyway.
With neither getting any significant roles in any new series.
I mean,
both
that's not that
continuing to
surprising.
appear only in a minor capacity in
What
the
is this
occasional
game?
comic book or video game. In 2004, Hasbro had plans to release a new kind of Horrorcon in the Transformers Universe toy line. Unrelated to the originals, these 4 new Horrorcons were to be spooky recolors of Beast Wars toys, sold exclusively at Walmart as a special Halloween promotion. Black Arachnia, Night Prowler, Waspinator, and Leatherhide. But their release was cancelled, and so, for 30 years, the only new Horrorcon toy was the Apeface released in 2016's Titan's Return. which wasn't a full-size figure, but a small Titan Master robot that transformed into Apeface's head, which
I'm
could
getting
connect to
headaches,
the
but I'm
larger
overall
figures in the
okay.
series. He came
dear
with a
God.
miniature battle mech based
sorry
on
to
his
hear that,
original body
Judy.
that converted into a gorilla, a jet, and a gun larger figures could hold.
Ooh.
When this figure was released in the Japanese Transformers Legends toy line, it allowed Apeface a brief turn in the spotlight in the tie-in Legends manga. The comedic comic strip featured the version of Apeface from the Headmasters anime, and detailed how, after his Transtector was destroyed, the tiny Horrorcon dedicated himself to mastering telekinesis, which he then used in an attempt to overthrow Megatron, only to be foiled by the intervention of Laserbeak.
Huh.
Eventually,
Oh,
over
new
3
toys.
decades
I
after
want
their
that
introduction,
Snapdragon.
the Horrorcons finally received full and
They look
proper
so cool.
brand new toys in the War for Cybertron trilogy. First, Apeface in
I wonder if in the TTRPG that me and my friends played, and yes, we did play it, I eventually want to make an animated short of our little adventures as Decepticons. If we could turn into triple changers or Horrorcons, that would fit my character a little too much, honestly.
2019's Siege toy line, then Snapdragon in 2020's Earthrise. The figures were faithful updates of the originals, complete with all 3 modes and Headmaster partners.
Nice.
The Titan's Return Apeface toy could even connect to the new figure. Where it had been based on the head of the original toy, the Siege Apeface's head was based on his cartoon appearance. Following the release of these new figures, Apeface has been making recurring appearances in IDW Publishing's comic books. As a former gladiator
doing okay,
who joined
like I
up
said,
with the
I have a headache.
Decepticons after Cybertron's government shut down the arenas and his attempts to take the fights underground failed. And
Fight
both
Club.
Horrorcons have also been added to the Earth Wars mobile game, which is particularly notable in Snapdragon's case. See, when Snapdragon's Earthrise toy was originally announced, it was promoted not as a Decepticon, but as an unaffiliated mercenary. By the time the toy was actually released, this idea had been dropped, and Snapdragon was sold as a Decepticon like normal.
Hello,
but
Dad.
Earth
How are you?
Wars brought the idea back, depicting Snapdragon as an ex-Decepticon who had left Megatron's forces to strike out on his own as a soldier for hire.
A mercenary.
Though they may never have been the biggest or most significant characters, the
They're definitely
Horrorcons
interesting,
remain
though.
cult favorites with fans, equal parts exciting, disgusting, and of course,
Horrifying.
And those are the basics on the Horrorcons.
So they haven't been around for long. They are basically triple changers with a different slate of names and having an animal alt mode from what I can tell, along with, a jet. And they've only made small appearances. But yeah, they're Headmasters and also triple changers. How many of those are there? Well, anyway, what do you guys think of those two? I like Snapdragon. I want the toy now. He looks cool and he has a nice shade of colors. But yeah. Either way, I hope you guys have a good day. If you want more, or if you want to see me watching stuff like Transformers, there's the Patreon to help support me doing stuff. And I'll see you all later. Also, check out our friends who come by for reactions with me. Their links are down below as well. Later, guys. And take care of yourselves, alright? I feel like we need it, even with my rolling headaches sometimes.